Okay, it's saying we're live. This is our fourth try. We've talked with the internet provider. We've done everything we can do on our end. So let's really hope that this is for real this time. I'm getting ready to double check here so I can watch and see. My husband says it looks good. He's checking it over on his. So let me zoom in and then I will see. And come on. Okay, now my camera's not zooming. There we go. So we can see what we're working on. Let me see my hand. Oh, we are looking so much better. Yay. Finally, we're here. So showing you the piece that we're going to be working on today. This is a succulent. I found this. This is not a picture I took. I'll show you the references right here. Sorry, it's in like an acrylic case so it can stand up for me. But this is just a stock photo that I got because I was downloading something for something else and like you could try and download something for free. So I found this one, downloaded it, and I have been working this one with Prismacolor pencils. I have the full set of 150. Looks like this box right here. But I just got some new tools in this line too, and they're designed to all work together. And it's the art sticks that are right here. I've got that zoomed in a little too much. Let me zoom back out. So you guys can see art sticks and the very thins. These are designed to work together with it. Now for this one, because I'm not doing a lot of large areas on this, I'm not using the art sticks. They look like this. Look a lot like chalk pastels. I mean, but these are like made from the same thing that's in the core of your regular Prismacolor. So that's pretty cool. It's great for working on larger areas because it's just this. It can fill in pretty quick for that. And then once you're done, or I'm not done, but once you are finished laying in your regular pencil, the very thins come in to be able to do the really, really fine details that are in here. And so that's a final step. So I won't be using those today. I still have way too much to go on this one. This is roughly, in my free time, a week's worth of work that I've got on this. Now, I can only work right now in free time because I'm working another job right now. So it's harder to grab time to get to work. And I'm gonna be working over here on this piece of it. To give you an idea of the colors I am using, they are right here. I tend to work in a lot of colors rather than trying to just blend one or two together. I like having all those colors. That's one reason why I get the 150 set when I'm doing this. I'm gonna zoom in just a teeny bit more so you guys can really see. Come on, camera. There we go. Sorry, it bounces. My stand likes to bounce a little bit. It'll stop in just a second, I promise. So that you guys can see what we're doing here. Now, when I work on this, typically I'll go through and I'll do quite a bit, and it's just a whole series of layer after layer after layer on this. So just have to be really patient and work through the process over and over and over again. And then you'll end up with these great looking, realistic flowers. Let me find one here that's finished really, really quick. I should cut it out because this is one piece that I did a little while back. I'll move it around for you guys so you can see what it looks like. So you can see all those details. This is a ton of layers. I mean, you just go back and you just keep adding. I use Gamsol right here to blend with, and then I have a teeny tiny brush, and then I've got the filbert, just depending on how big of an area I'm working on. Because this has really, really, really crisp lines on it where they overlap each other, I like to work from a leaf. Yeah, it is a leaf, I guess. These are succulents, they're leaves. That's in the back, and then work my way to ones that are overlapping. And each time I add that little bit more color, and I had to work with the black and understanding that you work backwards with it so that I don't want to put as much color down where the shadows are, because the black bleeding through will naturally add to the shadows. So that one, kind of a little bit of a learning curve with that, just because it is different than what I was used to with it. So typically with these, I like to start in the deeper shade and then work my way out to the lighter. That's my preference for doing this. I found that for the shadows, where in the picture it is really purpley because these are the purpley pink one. I love this black cherry and the mulberry together to get that effect. So kind of come in here. You'll see I'm just putting down this little bit of color. And then I will switch it over. Here I'm looking, I've got quite a few. I'll show you kind of all of the kind of olivey greens right here that I've got. Lime peel, moss green, green ochre, kelp green, marine green. It's a lot in that family. And then I've also got the apple green and then the spring green. And I have this really bright chartreuse. I'm not using this a whole lot, the yellow chartreuse, but it's a really good one to mix in to get good highlights on this. So let's go ahead, and this one I've noticed blends in really well. This is my lime peel, especially for a first coat to kind of lay it in. So I'm just getting in this right here. Now I'm gonna add in a little more color on top of that. I'm just looking at my reference photo, especially on this first coat. I'm not being ultra picky on how the color's laying in. So I go over, I just like to put that little bit of green in right there with the spring green or apple green. It tends to bring it back to a more natural green, I think, for this. And that's the process. It's slow, it's tedious. I enjoy it, so now I'm hitting it with the Gamsol, and you'll watch. A lot of it will kind of disappear here on this first coat, but it all blends together so beautifully. So you can see that. It's not looking like a whole lot on this first go, but again, as I said, it's a process of layering on this, and that's the secret to this. It's just that layer upon layer. So we've got a good base on this. I'm gonna come in now with the mulberry. Where are you, mulberry? Right there. Start kind of laying it a little bit in here now, and this is gonna brighten it up. See how bright that color is? Right there. Again, not a lot down there because it's in the shadow. It's a deeper area. A little more lime peel here, especially down in here. Now I'm getting a little more particular as to where my color is going in. Paying a lot more attention to this is a little shadow, just looking at my reference right here. I've got in front of me. I wish there was a way, I'm doing this off my phone, that I could have the reference up too so you guys could see the reference, but I don't have a good way to do that with my current setup. Maybe when I get fancy. I'm putting that there. Getting ready for the highlights on this. Now I'm gonna really add in with this. I use the cream. I think it tends to highlight a little bit better on this versus the white. I think the white gets sometimes a little too stark. Now, white is great at the very end to really hit your super bright highlights. But a lot of times if you do it too soon, kind of end up with this weird combination. And that cream blends in really well. I've also been using my indigo. I found it is a great one for putting in shadows on this. I love the way this is coming up. So you see how this is all blending in? And using the Gamsol, it's just so easy because, you know, I'm not ruining the tooth of my paper, so I can put in all of these layers on it. This is where it gets fun because we're gonna put in, there's these teeny tips on all of these. Now first I've gotta come in, come back in with the white, and I'm gonna, or the cream, and I'm gonna get it really sharp for this because it comes in, makes a tip. Right there. And then I've got this really pretty Parma Violet. And it is good for creating a nice purple highlight. And I've used that in some spots for my highlighter on this to really put in those pretty highlights. And I'm also gonna hit this a little darker down here. You can see how nice of a shadow that just puts in right there when I need to add in. I'm gonna blend that back in. Down here. That was getting a little too bright down there. I'm gonna go back to the black cherry. Where did you go? There you are. Down here. And now the mulberry on top of it. Again, looking where my highlights are. This one kind of has a neat highlight, and it's opposite where you would think it was. It kind of comes at the bottom of the leaf. So it's a kind of an interesting little bit. So we're gonna put that in right here. And I'm doing that really, really softly. A lot of times I'll just come in with my finger. And I know that's probably not right, but it's my simple way to do it, just to kind of blend that in just that little bit. Right there for that bit. And now we're gonna take the mulberry again, up at the top. Really put in this little tip. Now these each have these little furs kind of on them. And so what I do to kind of imply those is I just very lightly dot my pencil, just like that, as I go along it. And I find that does a really neat job just to kind of give the idea of it. I don't want to go into hyper-realism. I kind of find that as a weird medium. People who do it are incredible. Their patience astounds me. But when I'm creating art, I want to create it so that it looks like a piece. That I got my drink of coffee there, not that it's a picture. You know, I kind of see them as if I wanted a picture of something, I would take a picture. But people who enjoy that, that's great, just not my thing. So now this one we're gonna go to next. If we kind of look at what's underneath what, this would be the next guy. We could do that one too, but I'm gonna move over here because this one uses a couple of different colors, and I'm gonna be pulling in some more pinky colors. It's up a little bit more, and we're gonna start with the mulberry down here real light. And there. And I think it's neat too, because the more petals that come in, the more real it starts to look. You know, the first couple, it's a little bit of, it's like, I don't know if this is gonna look like anything. And then once you start adding each one, it gets better looking, in my opinion. So it's fun to watch the piece build. Then there's a little bit that almost goes to a purpley shade right here, so we'll put that in. Again, the Parma Violet. Then we get into the olivey tones. Grabbing that lime peel again. I think it's really cool how the purple and the lime, or the olivey tones tend to blend together a lot better than I would have thought they would have. I'm gonna move back in with the mulberry now at the tip. This one has quite a bit of color up at the tip. It's kind of an interesting surprise. That's kind of basically the way the colors are shaped on this one. So now we'll blend it together, get this first coat going. Now, I have a giant piece planned soon to work on, and I'm looking forward to doing it, but it's gonna take up almost my whole desk space. So I don't know if we'll be able to live stream on that. And I'm hoping to be back live streaming regularly again. I know I won't be able to next week. We're gonna be busy with some things. The kids are on spring break, so we're trying to make sure to spend some time with them during spring break. You see how that's in this basic blend here. right there. And now, the more layers we add, the more vivid the color will get. So in control of that completely. So I'm gonna go back in with Mulberry. And the violet here. Also gonna grab this time a little bit of pomegranate, because this goes a little pink, a little more pink in here. That's a neat shade to put in to pink it up. Don't want to pink it up too much, but just that little bit, and it'll blend in nicely. I'm gonna also take in the black cherry. Kind of tone it down a little bit more. That got a little too pinky. A little bit more with this purple. Now I'm gonna go with this is moss green. Now, I'm telling you my colors. Exact colors aren't as important as getting your values right, like for shadows and highlights on these, just because that's where the realism part of this will come in, where it looks, you know, more realistic, is not from picking the exact perfect shade. Think about like if somebody drew a blue tiger, and it would still look real as long as they had their highlights and their shadows in correctly. You would still look at it and go, oh cool, it looks like somebody took a picture of a blue tiger. I mean, think of all the crazy Photoshop things you've seen with things like that. So that's one of the things. Don't stress so much about the exact color, especially the way you see how much I'm blending right here. If I put one in and it's absolutely horrible, I can blend it, I can fix it. It's a very forgiving medium to work in. It's getting a little bright at the bottom, so I'm gonna take in my blue just a little bit, but not much, because there aren't a lot of shadows. The next leaf that's right here actually has a pretty strong bit of the little fur bits coming along this edge, and that's where the definition is going to come in when I get to that point. So not a huge deal, but I do want to just kind of help sneak it in a little bit more underneath. And so I'm losing my violet here, so let's put that back in. Violet is pretty important to get the shape right on this leaf so that you see it starting to curve. Now I'm going to go in with my apple green right here on the bottom. Then bring this a little bit more right here and around like this. Then we'll deepen this just a teeny bit. This is still pretty bright right here. Just a teeny bit there. It kind of comes through. That highlight all the way up to there. And we've got mulberry. So, love to know where you are watching from today. I am in San Diego. It is nice and colorful and bright today outside. We've had gray skies lately. That's been a little, little depressing for here when you get used to it. It's funny how quickly you can get used to it. Being from Kentucky, where winters were pretty gray, I thought, oh, it'll be great. You won't see that many gray skies. And then all of a sudden you see one out here and like you're kind of stuck in it. You're like, is the sun ever gonna come back out? And I'm sure those of you in the Midwest where winter just has kept going this year are feeling that way too, with everything. I'd love to know where you are watching. And if you are working on something, what are you working on right now? Do you have a project? Are you coloring something too today? I know this isn't in a coloring book, but the theory behind what I'm creating in this is the same as if I were coloring in a coloring book. So don't feel intimidated by this. I'm just layering pencils and blending them. I have my outlines here to stay inside of. So once you get that, it's a neat way to be able to use skills that you learn coloring in coloring books, but to be able to put them, I'm trying to get this in a little bit brighter right here. There we go, look at that, starting to come together. I'm gonna put a little white in there. And we're gonna blend that just a teeny bit right here. Notice my paper's a little warped. I had a seltzer water spill on this, so it was a little bit of a freak out moment with it. But I figured this is for me, you know, so if it's not 100% perfect, it's okay. It's not the end of the world if there's a little bit of waviness or anything, and if I do decide to frame it, the frame will flatten it back out, so not gonna lose sleep over that. And plus, every piece you make tells a story, and I look back, you know, on things I've made, and I get to look at it, and I remember different things that were going on when I was creating that, and so it's neat to go back and be able to look at your pieces and let them tell a story rather than expecting it all to always be perfect. Corral that a little bit. It got a little too big there. Now I am, just FYI, my pressure in doing this is so super light. You do not have to press hard. I love working on black paper. I think it just looks really cool with the finished piece and how it all comes together. So just a medium I love. Add in a little bit here. I hope that seeing this in real time, still got a little bit of white in there, wipe that off. Helps you guys to understand that if it's not coming together like instantaneously, you are not doing something wrong. It's part of a process, doing it with this. Okay, that, yay, looking good. So let's add on the teeny bits right here. You're just gonna see, I'm just gonna, and it's those highlights that just all of a sudden make it pop right there. When I do that step, it's like always like, ooh. So drinking my coffee still this morning. Originally planned to have this going at 10 a.m. and we had so many internet issues. We reset the router, we tried resetting my phone, we were resetting everything and still not being able to upload and stuff in the right definition, which for this type of stuff, I think I'm gonna need to go back and retouch this guy just a little bit. He's got a little more color than he's showing. I think it's just basically that I didn't do the final step with the getting him some. A little bit, and he's got some purple down here. This purple, I love it. It's been my little surprise for adding in unexpected highlights on this. You know, the ones that kind of come from the bottom sometimes because of reflected light coming up. Blend that in a little bit right there. pretty purple line down there coming through. So let's go ahead and do this one. This one's really, really dark in the middle. So getting out that black cherry. And we'll just start in, and it actually kind of comes all the way. We're gonna blend all the way into that area right there, but we're gonna use a lot of the blue to blend in there. It just is a lot of shadow down here. And it's the darker olives with some blue. Coming in here, this is the green ochre. The color on this one's pretty simple, so that's why I'm putting in a little more color the first go around, just because there aren't as many details on this leaf that I need to come back in and put in. So I'm trying to just cut my number of layers just a little bit. Still not pushing hard. You do not want to push hard. If you push hard, you're gonna limit the number of layers you can do, and that cuts down as to how much you can go back and fix and adjust, and really limits you. So soft hand, I tell that to my daughter is still trying to learn that theory with her work, is like, start sketching with a really soft hand. You don't want to, you know, indent your paper. You don't want to leave hard lines when you're first starting and then come back. It's a hard lesson to learn. So I'd love to know if anybody else out there live streams. One thing we're trying to look into doing is being able to put music in the background. And I have some ideas, but with just doing this on my phone, and I don't have, you know, fancy encoder and stuff to do this from my computer and my better camera and stuff. Would love to do that someday, just don't have the ability to purchase all of that right now and to get that going. So it's on my hopefully someday list of things, but not imminent. So if you have like a neat way to be able to get music behind your videos, if you do this, please let me know, because I would love to be able to put some music as I am working, so you're not just listening to me jabber the whole time, especially on some of these more repetitive parts, because right now it's just me laying in some color. I would love to know if anybody did anything fun over the weekend. We've been catching up on movies. We've watched more movies lately than we have like all year in like the past 2 weeks or 3 weeks. It's been like catch up. And we just don't go to the theater very often. I'm gonna take a drink. So it's just been one of those times where we've been sitting down together and watching movies, and here at home renting them. Netflix. We did the free trial Stars on Prime just so we could watch Spider-Man Homecoming. We had not even seen that yet. And I was really, really happy because there is like a surprise in that one. I'm not going to tell you what it is, because somehow, even though I hadn't been trying to avoid spoilers and things like that for it, we still all had a moment where we were legitimately surprised, and it was awesome to have that when we're watching it so many months after it came out. You know, it'd be one thing if we had been very, very, very vigilant and like, no spoilers, we will not know what's happening. No, we were not good. We did not, you know, obsess over, we will not know.
There's some places where we seek out spoilers.
Yeah, but we enjoyed it. I loved it. And so we also saw Black Panther in theaters. Loved that one as well. I love the music in it. I'm so happy Marvel has been upping its music game. you know, it scores and stuff for its movies. I think that is something that has been lacking for a long time with their movies, and so I'm really happy to be hearing, you know, some more creative, I guess, music, just something that makes it stand out, makes me think this is Black Panther, this is you know, Spider-Man, this is, you know. And then last night we watched Ragnarok, and the Mark Mothersbaugh scoring on that, I loved it. I love the 80s throwback in all of it. It did it without sounding like Guardians of the Galaxy, which was happy for me because that could have really easily turned into that. And seemed like it was trying to copy that, especially considering they went a little more comedic in its tone. And so it could have quickly turned into something and just seemed like a bad copy, but it didn't. So happiness there, good surprise. Trying to add in a little bit, and we have gone to low res again. Oh. So I'm gonna finish this leaf real quick. I know that it is low res right now. I'm seeing that. I am sorry about it. I do not know why I keep doing this. Looks like it's trying to come back. My hand doesn't look too bad. Maybe we'll fix up a little bit. Some of it is I am zoomed in pretty tight with my camera. Let me see if we're gonna try zooming out just to double check it. I see it, it's trying to keep focusing. So, I can always tell when I look at my hand. My hand in it kind of shows. Hand looks good, okay. We're gonna stay zoomed out just a little bit more, and hopefully that will help. Also, you get to see these lovely guys up here. Now, I was posting this on Instagram, and they were asking, you know, about trying chalk pastel, and I have done a little bit with chalk pastel. I'm not confident in it, and that's, you know, to be able to post things done in that and how-tos, because I don't know a whole lot of what I'm doing with it. Maybe I'll do it and you guys can learn along with me, and we'll try things together and find out what works, what doesn't work. But I don't want you guys to feel like I'm just using you guys as guinea pigs, though, too. Gonna add in some highlight now. And it's when we put in the highlight that these really start coming alive on these, and it's pretty heavy out here. Look at that. Isn't that crazy? Just that little bit right there, how much it changes it. So anyway, back to Black Panther and Marvel. I'm loving the direction they're going in. Now, one movie we have on our list, just because I want to keep up with what's going on, we do have Justice League. We have not watched that yet. I do want to see it. If nothing else, to see, you know, what everybody's been talking about with the really awful mustache edit. I'm like, I haven't actually looked up pictures or anything. I'd rather see it in the movie. So that's on our list to rent and watch. We have not done that yet. Let that dry just a little bit before I come back in with it. Oh, that really spread out a little more than I wanted. So let's darken that puppy back up. Again, the beauty of this is I can just add in and add in and add in layers. And it just keeps going. It's like, it's so cool. I love this medium because it does that. And I'll come back in with that blue down there. And I'll just darken that back up. And see, look, our shadow came right back in, even though it was gone so much. It's kind of disappearing. This one disappears way back into the depths in this one. And then when I do this one and these right here, you'll see it suddenly pop back up, which will be pretty cool. Looking forward to when that one happens. My goal is to finish this guy in the live stream today. And then I'll probably do, there's another small one up in the corner over this way. Let me see if I can get my hand in. There we are, over that way. That I will probably work on this week, not in a live stream, and then we'll come back and we'll do part of the big guy in the live stream. So it'll be fun to do next week. And that a little bit. Soften that in. Now, slow. Try to get it to dry a little faster. It dries so fast. That's what I love. Pretty instant gratification. I don't have to wait for paint to dry. One reason that I like working in this over paint. I do paint as well. And I have the same love for black canvases that I do for working on like these right here too. Get this deeper. I'm still gonna probably go in with a little bit more blue along that bottom edge in a minute. Let's go ahead and put in the highlights. Back again, this guy right here. And then come back in right here. This one's really smooth, the angle that it's coming at. We don't get a lot of the little bits that we get on the other ones. So now let's give it a little bit of shape right here with that shadow down there. And I'm gonna blend in the shadow right here. And he is in, once that dries a little bit, you'll see the color come back out right there. So let's move on to this one right here. And this one's another one that has a lot of color in it. I'm enjoying the purple in this one. I've done a succulent that was pretty much all red. I've done one that was all green, and then this one having the combination of the shades has been fun. I enjoy color quite a bit in what I do. So I'm deciding my pull right now. I'm gonna start with the mulberry on this guy. Coming in there. Now I'll come in with the green ochre down here in the bottom half. I think it's neat, succulents, a lot of times their highlights and shadowing really falls almost in a straight line on them. Down the middle of the leaf, and that is happening on this guy quite a bit. I'm gonna go ahead and blend that in, and then I'm gonna use the violet. So I'd love to know, I was talking about movies just a minute ago, what movies you would recommend, especially if they're on Netflix. What are you watching on Netflix? We discovered, okay, Nailed It the other day too. That was a lot of fun. Reminds me, like, if the show Cake Rex created a TV show. It's regular people trying to create, you know, designer cakes. And so they don't take themselves seriously. It's not, you know, like the world's gonna end if they don't create this cake. You know, sometimes those shows, they get a little ridiculous because they're like, and all of the drama surrounding making a cake. And this was just fun, lighthearted. You know, you could just kind of watch and relax and not be like all up in arms. Are they going to be able to create the cake? Are they not? You know, it was that lighthearted. I could use more of that at times. Life has enough going on. Again, my two halves doing the green right there. And I'm gonna put in some more mulberry, and I'm also gonna put in some dark cherry down at the base on this guy, just to really help bring it home. This one doesn't have a whole lot of shadow on it. It gets this neat reflective shadow, which I'll put in probably in the next layer or so down here on the bottom. I'll use that with the violet, which is neat on it. Now, if you ever get in a coloring book and you're just, you know, you're doing adult coloring or and stuff, and you have trouble choosing colors, doing something like this from a reference photo, you know, can take away some of that anxiety, because you can look and just see. It's like, You're not having to come up with all of it on your own. So you're starting to get this nice, smooth look on this guy. Really starting to come together. Now I'm coming in with the violet a little bit right here. You gotta see how that comes into it. Now, a lot of times I will use a blender pencil in my projects. I am not using a blender pencil on this one. Just chose not to on this, not any huge reasoning behind it. I like to, you know, try different techniques, and while I do believe very firmly in using the techniques you know as you're creating, because it does aid you in your creative process and knowing how to combine them and use them. In this one, I just felt like really working hard on the one area rather than putting in a lot of technique and getting better on that one. So clean that off just a teeny bit. Notice I got the edge of the highlight there, but I didn't get the whole highlight to blend in. I've got a little, there we go. Because I didn't want it to totally blend out. This really does create a really smooth look sometimes, and so didn't want it to hit it too hard there. Now I've got my cream, and I'm gonna come in now and start laying in this highlight. In like that on this one. Still got a little bit of pink, too much pink on my. Okay, blending that in some. It's not too hard of a line. You don't want it to look like it's outlined, then you end up with a cartoon. So if you ever wondered, why does my piece look cartoony? It could be that you have your outlines are a little harsh. I'm laying in a little bit, this lighter color right there, just real lightly. Here. As I finish up this one. See, we're getting there. Blend those together a little more. It's not a hard line. This one's just taking a little more blending than some of the others. I'm gonna lay in a teeny bit more. Where did you go? Green ochre, there you are. Right here. There we go. Getting that color there. And then a little bit more mulberry in here. There we go. Keep looking back at my picture here. I think we are ready now to put the little hairs on. There's kind of a little more of a line here. Kind of interesting, this one, oh, it has a teeny bit. Let's put that in purple up here. A little bit of the mulberry. Just a hint, not a lot. So now, put these little hairs on. There we go, the little hairs are on. Next, I think, let's see here. I'm gonna go with this one because this one sits a teeny bit on top of it. It's kind of like one of those where, depending on which part of the petal or the leaf you look at, they sit kind of funny with each other to where it's hard to tell who's on top. So I think this is the better one to do, looking at it. So we'll go to there. It'll be this one, here, here, and here. This is our last one right there. Sitting right there. So this one, it's got some pretty bright red in it. So I'm gonna be pulling out some of my reds. I've got this Crimson Lake. It's another good one to do some deep, especially pairing it with this Black Cherry to be my darker shades at the bottom. I'm just gonna put in a teeny bit down there. It'll pull in, brighten up quite a bit. This one, rather than being so purple, a little more pink, so I'm going to the pomegranate next on this. And those disappear too quite a bit on the first layer that you lay in. Next we'll go to mulberry. It kind of sits in there. Not a lot of it, but it'll, when we pull it into the green, you'll notice it. This green, the darker one, sits like this, and then the lighter sits out there. Pretty simple for the color on this one. Okay, there's that one started. Good color base there. Now we'll fine tune it. It looks like I may be pulling a teeny bit of that chartreuse in on this one. So be ready, excitement coming. So coming in with my darker green here, and my lighter green. And a teeny bit of blue right out here because there's like this teeny shadow right there. And let's get this base a little more defined. It's the crimson, now the magenta. And the mulberry. To blend it a little bit more. Okay. Looks like a funny combination of colors right now. It'll blend in nicely. Sorry, I missed the beginning. I'll go back later, Charlotte. It is a black paper. And here, I'll show my references at the beginning, but I'll show you again. This is my reference right here, just seeing your picture, your comments. So I've got it, it's in an acrylic stand, so that's why the glare. So I've got that, that's what I'm using as my reference. So I've just got it sitting right in front of me. find this little stand has been super handy. Like, got it at Office Depot for next to nothing, but for holding my reference pictures while I'm working, just because I can set it vertical or horizontal. It sits on my desk nicely. Real simple. Using Prismacolor Premier pencils with Gamsol, and they're the largest set of pencils that I have, so I use them the most for doing big ones. It's not like a cookbook stand, it's more like the ones that like offices will use, like to set like please ring bell for service kind of holders. So easy, it was my easy solution. So we're almost done with this one. I need to pink it up a little bit, it's too red down here. Okay, we're gonna get a little crazy here with the process red. I know, it sounds like that's red, it's actually really pink. And some magenta. Then we'll add in those shadows on here. I've set my Gamsol in a different spot. One thing I do recommend is if you don't, to always have your reference sheet for your pencils too. It makes it really easy. There are a ton of them out there that you can print, and when you get your new set, you can just color in what colors you have, and it makes it so much easier to look it up and try to figure it out, because you know, sometimes the outer edge is good, sometimes it's not so good. I put a little too heavy on the Gamsol. It's taking a second for it to dry. Blow. So add in a teeny bit of blue out here. Darken that up. Now here comes the exciting bit. I'm gonna add in that really bright chartreuse, and it's gonna go, hello. So you see that line coming in now. Right there, that really bright chartreuse. It's always a funny color because it's so bright, and it can be a little overpowering, so I would suggest using it sparingly. But when it's the right color, it's the right color. So we're gonna actually pull down. I haven't let this dry as much as I should, so that's why it's moving my color a little bit more than I'd like, but. So you see how bright that suddenly got out there. On this edge, add a little bit more. There we go. Put in that tip on that one, because all of these have really pointy tips out there. So another one done. Go ahead and do this one next right here. Get that one in since it's its buddy really close. Black cherry. The darker, actually that was mulberry, I meant to grab black cherry. We'll darken it up. There we go. Now, yeah, it's mulberry. Real light. I'll actually end up putting the violet in really, really light on this one because it's blending on top of the green. Just the basics on that one put in. When I was doing my last one on the black paper, I didn't order my leaves correctly on working on it. It made it really hard because coming back, like I had to be really, really careful. And when you work on it, or you work from whichever one's in the furthest back, makes it a lot easier to come in and do your smoothing. And I had to be super, super careful about it. Oh, look how good that one turns out. A little bit better than I thought for a first coat. I'm happy on that. Happy surprise. I will take happy surprises. So I'm gonna need to sharpen this guy. And my favorite sharpener is my Stapler 2-hole right here, in case you were wondering. So it looks like we're getting close on time for my hour. I try to keep these to an hour. Looks like I won't finish this guy today in this live stream. Which, I was hoping to get a little bit further. That's typically the story of this, though. I plan to be further along than I actually am most of the time on things like this. So this is, I'll show you guys this petal, because this one has kind of the violet-y. It's just like a tone in it, though. It's not like it's the true violet, so that's why I need to blend it in with the others. Sometimes looking at these and dissecting in your brain what colors are in there, that's just something that takes practice, and the more you do it, the better you'll get at it. So keep practicing with that. I am by no means perfect. I like to think that I have been in a couple of hours trying to learn it with this. So this one's coming along pretty quick. Happy. Oh, 150 colors aren't enough. Yeah, that sometimes it feels like that. I am the total, like, if I purchase anything, I buy the most colors I can get. But I also know that if I really, really want to be good, that I can mix my colors. I can do this. I just have to I have to think about it to do it. But I don't like to take the time. I like to just pick the color that's perfect and move. But yeah, and also my next live stream will be in about 2 weeks. Next week I'm not going to be able to live stream just because my kids are on spring break, so I'll be spending time with them. This was kind of a practice to get back into the habit of it. I used to do these every week and then got busy with some of my jobs and stuff. So how many pencil collections do I have? Full collections, I have the Kohinoor and the Prismacolor. I have a couple of the Faber-Castell Polychromos. I would love to have the whole set there, just cost is pretty prohibitive on those. I bought the Crayola blend-in shades, absolutely hated them. To the point that was one of the reasons my live stream suddenly stopped, is because I couldn't bring myself to color with them again. I did not enjoy it, it was hard. I finished the piece out of sheer stubbornness that I couldn't like leave something unfinished, but I do not recommend them. I also have the Staedtler Norris pencils. I find that they're just basically a glorified blender because they're so hard. It's hard to get color down on those. Then I'm trying to think if I have any others. I don't. Yeah, so that's what I have. I don't have anything in Derwent. I have not gotten into all of those. I only have so much space in my apartment too, so I don't want to have too much stuff. I'm curious how those would do, if I would like them or not, but with everything I have, I think for right now. Prismacolors are wax-based. My Kohinoors are, oh, you got the 12 Polychromos. Oh, fun. Those layer, like, and they're so incredible. And basically what I did is I went and I bought, like, in my Polychromos, they're the ones that Kohinoor kind of had a hole in. There weren't that many choices, especially their reds and deep reds are lacking in that set. So I went in and got those for that. But they just layer and layer and layer and layer and layer. And it's like excitement. I wonder if that's a hashtag layer for days. But that's what it feels like using those. Ooh, that really popped right in there. I'm always happy when I have a surprise hit like that does. Which Derwents do I want? And see, that's the thing. Because I haven't wanted to get into them. I think playing around with their ink tints would be a lot of fun. It would just be yet another tool to add into my kit. I have the Kohinoor watercolors that are, because they're color matched to my Kohinoors. I like playing with those. I'm more though with watercolors, I use those to layer, and I'll put those down as a pre-layer on something. So a lot of times I will draw on watercolor paper so I can use the watercolor pencils, then put color pencil on top of it to fine tune it, because I just can't let myself enjoy watercolor for looking like watercolor. So there's that. Real quick, got a little white down in here, a little white in there, and there's that guy put in. So you're campaigning for the full set. Maybe, hopefully I can get those for Christmas or something like that at some point. I would love it. They're wood box. It just looks so pretty to have that. But again, I don't have a whole lot of space for anymore. I'm already taking up a lot of the living room in my place. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish this for today and call it, because we are at actually 5 minutes over the hour that I normally do these. So gotta be mindful of everybody's time. I hope that you've enjoyed this video. I've enjoyed making it and getting back in the saddle with the live stream. So just thanks for watching. I did create something new, and I did this so that I can put on my end credits. So let's zoom out. This is what I did while I was really bored waiting for our internet to come back up, as I created this. So I can put my end screen up, we can have that, and you guys can find other videos. So I'll have the links to the future videos and the replay of this so that you can find those pretty quickly and easily. So thanks for watching. Like, share, and subscribe. And remember, art happens in everyday life. Make sure you're watching for it. Bye.